The champagne glass froze halfway to my lips as my sister Olivia's words cut through the ambient restaurant chatter. Happy 30th to my pathetic sister who still rents, she announced, raising her glass high enough for all 43 family members to see. The private dining room at Westbrook House erupted into cruel laughter. My heartbeat thundered in my eyes and ears as time seemed to stretch. The expensive salmon on my plate blurred before my eyes while my skin pricked with heat that spread from my chest to my face. The chandelier lights suddenly seemed too bright, each crystal casting tiny daggers of light that matched the ones being thrown at me from around the table. What they didn't know was that I'd been signing their checks for the past 5 years. Each trust fund payment, every inheritance distribution, every lucky windfall they thought came from Grandma's estate, all of it flowing from accounts I control. My name, Rachel. I'm 30 years old and a literacy advocate. This is the story of how I made my family finally see me. Westbrook House was Olivia's choice, of course. She rented their most expensive private room, complete with crystal chandeliers and a view of the Manhattan skyline. I watched her swirl the champagne in her glass, champagne I had unknowingly paid for. The bitter irony wasn't lost on me. She was literally spending my money to humiliate me about being poor. Seriously, though, Olivia continued, her voice carrying that special tone she reserved for public humiliation. 30 years old, still renting a studio apartment, still single, still working on that. What is it you do again, literacy thing? I'm a literacy advocate, I said quietly, cutting into my overpriced salmon. Right. Playing with old books while the rest of us contribute to society, she gestured around the table at our cousins, aunts and uncles, all of whom had mysteriously come into money over the past few years. I mean, look at Tyler. He just bought his third investment property. Aunt Diane's boutique is thriving. Even cousin Carl finally got his act together and started that tech company. Tyler shifted uncomfortably. He knew exactly where his seed funding had come from, even if he never admitted it to anyone. Some people are just destined to be life's renters. Uncle Frank chimed in, already 3 bourbons deep. Nothing wrong with that, Rachel. Someone has to be at the bottom for the rest of us to be at the top. Exactly, Olivia beamed. Thought I did it wonders sometimes if Mom and Dad would be disappointed. I mean, they work so hard to give us opportunities and I've built a whole empire while you're still, what's the word? Stranded. The word hit exactly where she'd. Our parents had died in a car accident 7 years ago, leaving behind what everyone assumed was a modest estate. What they didn't know was that Dad had been quietly brilliant with investments, and Mom's hobby of collecting rare manuscripts had accumulated a fortune in literacy itself. The will had been very specific and very private. Everything went to me with explicit instructions to take care of the family as I saw fit. So I had anonymously funded Olivia's empire. Her chain of boutiques, fitness studios had been saved from bankruptcy 3 times by mysterious angel investors. Uncle Frank's gambling debts had been quietly settled by an administrative error at the casino. Carl's tech company only existed because someone had anonymously paid off his student loans and given him a grant to pursue his dreams. Every single person laughing at me right now was living off my money. You know what? Olivia stood up, swaying silently. Let's make a toast to Rachel, who proves that not everyone needs to be successful. Someone has to be the cautionary tale we tell our kids. 42 glasses raised. Mine stood on the table as I felt something inside me finally slap after years of bending. The taste of metal filled my mouth and I realized I'd been bitten the inside of my cheek without noticing. Thank you for the memories, I said, my voice steadily despite the burning in my chest. Memories? Olivia laughed. Oh, honey, this isn't a goodbye. You're stuck with us. It's not like you have anywhere else to go for the holidays. More laughter. Someone, I think it was Aunt Diane, actually took a picture of me sitting there, probably for her Instagram story, about grateful for my success. When I see how others struggle, I pulled out my phone and sent a single text to my lawyer. Execute Order 30. We'd planned this for months, waiting for the perfect moment. My 30th birthday seemed politically appropriate. Order 30 was our code for initiating the complete suspension of all anonymous payments and revealing my ownership of various properties and businesses they thought belonged to them. What? Checking to see if your landlord texted about rent. Olivia couldn't resist one more jab. You know, I have a friend who's looking for a roommate. Might help with her budget situation. That's very kind, I said, standing up, but I'll be fine. Where are you going? We haven't done cake yet. I'm tired, I said truthfully. Thank you all for coming. It's been illuminating. I left them there laughing and drinking wine I'd unknowingly paid for in a room rented with my money, celebrating their success that only existed because of my silence. The next morning came fast. After leaving the restaurant, I returned to my penthouse, exhausted but resolute about what would happen next. I was sitting in my pathetic studio apartment, which was actually the penthouse of a building I owned, designed to look like a studio from the outside, when my phone started buzzing. Olivia's call came at 8:47 a.m. I let it go to voicemail. She called again at 8:48, 8:52, 8:56. Finally, I picked up, heart racing with anticipation. "What did you do?" she screamed. Her voice cracked with panic. "Good morning to you too," I said, sipping my coffee while looking out at Centre Park. "What seems to be the problem?" "Don't play dumb." "The lawyer, the trust fund, it's gone." "What trust fund?" I kept my voice puzzled. "The one from Grandma, the one that pays out $50,000 every month. It just stopped." "That's strange," I said. "Grandma's estate was settled years ago. She only left a few thousand, remember? You made quite a point of complaining about it at the funeral." But I'd been getting payments for years. They said it was from her estate." "Must be some mistake," I said. "Maybe you should call the law firm." I did. They said to talk to the benefactor. They said the anonymous benefactor had chosen to redirect the funds. Anonymous benefactor? I frowned in surprise. "Olivia, are you telling me you've been receiving £50,000 a month from someone you didn't know?" Silence. I practically heard her brain working, trying to process the implications. It has to be money from family," she said weakly. "Our parents left enough to be charity, remember? Remember, you were very vocal about how selfish that was." "That's what they told us." But what? You assumed they were secret money and that someone was just giving it to you for nothing. I earned it, my business, dash quote. Your business that's never turned a profit, the one that somehow stays afloat despite hemorrhaging. Money, how exactly did that work?" Olivia, more silence. Then the moment I'd been waiting for. "It was you." Her voice was barely a whisper. "I have no idea what you're talking about." I said, "I'm just a pathetic renter who plays with old books, remember? How could I possibly have that kind of money? But if it was you, why would you give us money and never say anything?" "Hypothetically speaking," I said, "maybe someone wanted to see if their family would love them for who they were, not what they could provide. Maybe someone wanted to know if they would be valued as a person, not a bank account. But we didn't know exactly. You didn't know. And when you thought I had nothing, you treated me like nothing. You threw a party to celebrate my failure. You took photos to document my humiliation. You made toast to my pathetic life. Rachel, please." "The funny thing is," I continued, my voice growing steadier with each word, "I kept hoping 5 years of anonymous gifts, and I kept hoping that maybe, just maybe, someone would be kind enough to me just because I was family, that someone would include me or defend me or just see me as more than a punchline. We can fix this," she said desperately. "We can be better. Your business loan is due next month, right? The one for $3 million, the one you've been making multiple payments on because you assumed the trust fund would always be there." She gasped. "How do you know about that?" "I know about everyone's debts, Olivia. Uncle Frank's mortgage on that house he can't afford, Carl's investor agreement that had been floating on trust fund payments, Aunt Diane's boutique that's never made a dime but somehow stays open. You've been watching us. I've been taking care of all of you for 5 years. I've been the safety net you didn't know existed. And what did I get in return? Mockery, humiliation, cruelty. We pay you back with that. None of you have actually any money. You've been living off my generosity while telling me I'm a failure." My phone kept beeping with incoming calls. Uncle Frank, Carl, Aunt Diane. Word was spreading fast. "The building you're living in," I added. "The one with the mysterious low rent, I own it. The car you drive, I hold the lease." "They'll stop." Olivia sobbed. "Please, just stop." "Why? Am I embarrassing you, making you feel small? Welcome to every family gathering for the last 5 years. What do you want?" The desperation in her voice was palpable. "Nothing," I said. "That's the beautiful irony. I don't want anything from any of you. I never did. I just wanted a family that loved me for me, not for what I could give them." "We love you." "No, you love the idea of being superior to me. You love having someone to look down to. You love feeling successful in comparison to my perceived failure." "That's not true." "Then why did you never once in 5 years invite me to something that wasn't an opportunity to humiliate me? Why did every conversation have to include a reminder of my failure? Why did you take literal photos of my pain?" She was crying now. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." "I believe you," I said. "But you're sorry because the money's gone, not because you hurt me." "That's not. Tell me one thing you know about me," I interrupted. "One thing that isn't related to money or status. What's my favourite book? What do I do on weekends? What makes me happy?" Silence. "That's what I thought." "Please," she whispered. "We lose everything." "You lose everything you never earned," I corrected. "There's a difference." "But we are family." "Are we?" "Because family knows each other. Family supports each other. Family doesn't spend 5 years turning someone into a punchline." My doorbell rang. I wasn't surprised. Olivia had rushed over the moment she realised I wasn't going to cave over the phone. I'm not surprised you found my address, I said before hanging up. It's listed in our parents' will documents, which I'm sure you frantically searched through right now. I opened the door to find not just her, but Uncle Frank, Kyle, and 3 other cousins. They clearly coordinated. Rachel, Uncle Frank started, his usual bourbon confident voice now shaky. We need to talk. Come in, I said aside. Welcome to my pathetic studio. They filled in and stopped dead. My studio opened to a sprawling penthouse with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park, priceless manuscripts lined climate-controlled display cases. Original artwork dotted the walls. The pathetic life they mocked was nowhere to be seen. How? Carl breathed, his eyes wide as they took in the marble countertops and designer furniture. Dad was smarter than any of you gave him credit for, I said. And Mom's manuscript collection. Turns out first edition Virginia Woolf's unsigned Hemingways are quite worth a bit. But you never said. Olivia's voice was small, her makeup streaked from crying. I've tried. Remember Christmas 3 years ago? I mentioned I made some good investments. Olivia interrupted into a joke about investing in lottery tickets. They had to take Grace to look ashamed. At Thanksgiving 2 years ago, I continued, I offered to help with Uncle Frank's mortgage. He laughed, and he said he didn't need charity from someone who couldn't afford a car. I didn't know, Frank stated. Because you never asked, none of you ever asked. You just assumed and judged and mocked. So what now? Olivia asked, sinking into my Italian leather couch. You just cut us off? Let us lose everything? I'm letting you do anything, I said. I'm simply stepping back because you're all adults. Figure it out, but we're family. It seemed to be the only argument. Then act like it, I said. Learn my middle name, ask about my work, my real work, not the version you created to feel superior. Remember my birthday without Facebook reminding you. Treat me like a person, not a punchline. If we do that, will you, Carl began? No, I cut him off. This isn't a transaction. You don't get to be nice to me now in exchange for money. That ship sailed. So we're just supposed to lose everything? You were supposed to learn what I'd known for 30 years, how to make it on your own, how to budget and struggle and work for things instead of having them handed to you by someone you don't even respect. They left eventually, shell-shocked and silent. Over the next few weeks, I watched from a distance as their carefully constructed lives crumbled. Olivia's empire folded within a month. Uncle Frank had to sell his house and move into an actual studio apartment, the kind he mocked me for being stuck in. Carl's tech company disappeared when he couldn't make his investor payments. Some of them got jobs, real jobs, the kinds where you work for your own money instead of simply collecting it. Others moved in with friends or downsized their lives dramatically, and slowly something interesting happened. After 6 months, I got a text from Carl. Hey, I know you don't owe me anything, but I just wanted to tell you I finally read that manuscript you archived last year, the one about resilience. I understand why you love your work now. A month after that, Aunt Diane sent a card, not asking for money, just sharing that she got a job at a local library and thought of me every day. One by one, they began reaching out, not for handouts, but for connection, real connection, the kind that doesn't come with a price tag or expectation. Olivia was the last to contact me almost a year after the birthday dinner. She asked to meet for a coffee. Her treat, she insisted, even though I knew she was working 2 jobs to pay her debt off. I've been thinking, she said, stirring the coffee nervously. About what? I asked. What makes you happy? I waited. I think you're happy when you're surrounded by stories. Not just books, but the stories they tell, the lives they've lived. I remember now. You used to tell me about the inscripts you'd find, the love notes in margins, the history in the pages. It was the first time in years she actually seen me. I'm not asking for money, she added quickly. I'm not asking for anything. I wanted you to know that I remember, and I'm sorry. Not sorry for losing the money, sorry for losing you. We're not close now. Too much damage was done for that. But we're working on it slowly, one genuine conversation at a time. The family that laughed at me for being pathetic and learning why I always knew that worth isn't measured in dollars, that success isn't about what you have but who you are. And for the rest of the family, each relationship evolved differently. Uncle Frank eventually found work as a financial advisor, ironically teaching others about responsible money management. We exchange holiday cards now, but nothing more. My cousins split into 2 camps, those who genuinely wanted to rebuild relationships and those who disappeared from my life entirely, unable to face the shameful of their behaviour. Tyler moved across the country to start afresh, occasionally sending emails about his new, now modest life. And me, I still live in my penthouse, still work with my manuscripts, still drive a sensible car. The only difference is that now when someone asks what I do, and tell them the truth. I preserve stories, both the ones written in books and the ones written in life, including my own. The birthday toast Olivia gave me to our pathetic sister who still rents turned out to be poetic, just not in the way she meant. I do still rent in a way. I rent space in people's lives, and now finally they're earning that space with something more valuable than money. They're earning it with respect, and that's worth more than all the trust funds in the world. I will see you in the next one.